start in a nice child's pose. Let me open my book of magic. So knees mat distance, together, arms out in front of you or to the sides. If this still doesn't feel comfortable, then just come for another seated position, maybe lie down. I don't know if Chloe's frozen. Yeah, so you just really want to get super comfy here. So relax into all your muscles and just really settle in. And just create space. Just noticing and acknowledging how you feel right now. It's always an important step. Taking a few moments to observe. And that's a great thing about observing, is that when we observe how we feel, acknowledge things, it's the first step to change. So notice if you're holding any unwanted tension, any stress within the body, and especially any tension and stress within the mind. Then begin to notice the breath. Using the breath as a tool to keep you present, how it feels and how it sounds. Can you imagine creating a little bit more space on every inhale? And as you exhale, just create a little bit more softness. And let's begin to really tune into your controlled breath, as if you haven't started already. So inhale through the nose, easy exhales through the nose. Inhaling through the nose, and then easy exhales through the nose. So really make sure you can maintain this throughout the practice. Begin to interlace your fingers behind your lower back. Finding length along the arms, press the palms into each other. Maybe send the arms above the head, so you can stay here. If you're feeling okay and you'd like to, maybe you want to round into the back and then bring in the crown of the head towards the ground. Completely up to you. So interlace the fingers. Think about really rolling the shoulders back and then squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then slowly release. We'll lift all the way up so you can keep on top of the heels, so hero's pose. So if this is super uncomfortable, you can try bringing a block in or underneath the sitting bones. Maybe a couple of cushions. If it's still uncomfortable, then come to a different seated position. And we're going to come for your cow-facing arms, or your eagle arms, rather. So we'll start with the left elbow underneath. So single wrap, and then lift. So you can give yourself a hug, or you can double wrap by interlacing the fingers. So make sure with any pose you're not closing off space. You always want to find length, yeah? So we're trying to soften into the shoulders and into the neck, the area where some of us might hold stress. So just really shrug the shoulders down and then pull the elbows out in front of you. So think about protracting into the upper back, so spread the shoulder blades nice and wide. Maybe keeping the eyes closed. And just notice how the shoulders, maybe the upper back feels here. We're going to inhale, lift the elbows up, maybe create a gentle back bend. And as you exhale, crunch it in, scoop the belly in. 2 more like that. Inhale, lift. And as you exhale, crunch it in. 1 last time. Inhale, lift. And as you exhale, crunch. And then slowly release. We'll come for the other side. Maybe shake it around if you need to. And then right arm will go underneath. So single wrap, double wrap, or give yourself a hug. Yeah. Pull the elbows away from you. Again, think about how can you create a little bit more length along the neck. Just easing into the shoulders a little bit more. And then notice the core here. Notice if you're allowing the ribs and the belly to just release. So take a big inhale, lift the elbows up, gentle back bends maybe. And as you exhale, crunch it in. 2 more like that. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. 1 more time. Inhale, lift. And as you exhale, bend. And then slowly release the arms, maybe wiggle it around. Placing your right hand on top of the left knee, left fingertips behind you. So inhale, create your length, scoop the belly and the ribs in. And then as you exhale, just gently twist. Maybe shifting the gaze over that left shoulder. Inhale, lift a little bit taller. And then as you exhale, maybe create a little bit more of a twist. And then coming through center, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, we'll come for the other side. So left hand on top of the right knee, right fingertips behind you. Inhale, create your length. Exhale, gentle twist. So if your left hand doesn't catch the right knee, you can always just place it on top of the hip, yeah, or still a bit taller, yeah. Maybe peeling back on the shoulders a little bit more. And then coming back to center. Releasing your left hand to the outside of that left hip, find the ground. And then we'll sweep your right arm up and over. Yeah. So notice if you're closing off the space, again, keep the chest nice and open. And if it doesn't feel good and you feel like you're scrunching, maybe your left hand can catch your left hip and then you can create that side bend. This is like the worst part. Inhale, lift the arms up towards the ceiling. Find length along the side body. And as you exhale, we'll come to the other side. Really extending your left arm over the head. Maybe turning the gaze towards the floor or towards the ceiling. And then lifting all the way up. We'll come to our hands and knees, tabletop position. As always, set the base up. Hands about shoulder width distance apart, knees underneath the hips. We'll come for a few rounds of cat-cow. So inhale, drop the belly, pull the chest through, the arms look up. And as you exhale, chin to chest, push the ground away from you. Push, 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 push. A few more in your own time. Remembering to not to rush the breath. Be nice and easy. Finding a bit of control here. And if you want to go a different direction, maybe go round and round or side to side, you're more than welcome to come into that. So make sure the inner palms does not lift. Yeah, hand placement is always super important. Pressing into the index fingers. And then make this your last one, we'll come to a nice neutral spine. So you can stay here if you like. You can always extend your left leg towards that left wall. Yeah, maybe turn the left toes towards the ceiling, or you can ground it. It's completely up to you. We're going to inhale, float your left arm up. So notice if you're picking up that left hip as well. Yeah, keep it nice and squared. Exhale, thread your left arm underneath the right arm. We'll go 2 more times like that. Inhale, lift. Really floss into the upper back. And as you exhale, thread. And one more time like that. Inhale, lift. Exhale, this time thread it all the way under. Left shoulder finds the ground. Maybe keep the right hand bent or the right arm bent. Or if you like, you can reach your right arm out in front of you. Maybe walk it over towards the left. Maybe you want to add in a half bind. Again, completely up to you. If this is too much with your left leg extended, then you can always just come back to your child's pose. And then coming back through center or force. So this time around, maybe extend your right leg, maybe not. It is completely up to you again. Pressing a lot into that left hand. Inhale, float your right arm up. Pull back on that left hip. And as you exhale, thread. 2 more times like that. Inhale, lift. And as you exhale, thread. One last time. Inhale, reach. Exhale, thread it all the way under. You can always prop your head up with a couple of cushions if you've got it nearby, or a block. And then slowly come back to your hands and knees. Scoot your knees behind you, modified plank pose. Yeah. Tuck the toes under, ground into the hands. We'll slowly lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. So remember, look for that triangle pose. Lift the hips up a little bit higher. Yeah, a little bit higher. A little bit higher. Yeah, that's it. Maybe bend into the knees if you need to find a little bit more length along the spine. Yeah, keep pushing the hips up and back. Yeah, there we go. So again, think about your base here. Hands about shoulder width distance apart, feet about hip width distance apart. Keep lifting the hips up a little bit higher. And don't worry if you need to come back to a child's pose. Yeah, so downward dog's a lot in the shoulders and in the arms if you've not done downward dog a lot before. Keep squeezing the forearms together. Yeah, there we go. And then we'll bend a lot into that right knee. And then lift your hips up a little bit higher. And then ground through your right foot, bend into your left knee. Yeah, so we're starting to pedal out the leg. Just searching for a little bit more sensation along the back side of the body. If this is a little bit too much for you, you can always come to your hands and knees, and you can come to extend one leg at a time. Yeah. And then inhale, look at in front of you. Slowly walk to the top of the mat, folding forward. Relax here. Shake the head, nod the head. Anything you'd like with the arms, it's completely up to you. So whether you just hang here, Interlace your fingers behind you. Maybe slip the hands right underneath the feet. And then slowly we'll unwind all the way towards the ceiling. Head is the last to unlock. Find your base here. So find your yoga toes, spread the toes nice and wide. Nice equal weight between the four corners of the feet. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, side bend over towards the right. So press a lot into that left heel. Draw the ribs and the navel in so you're not arching in the back. You can always shift the gaze towards the floor or maybe towards the ceiling. Inhale, picture all the way up. Exhale, tip it to the other side. And then slowly lift all the way up. Exhale, hands together, heart center. So we will step your right foot behind you, spin and ground it down. Set up for your warrior two, okay? Front knee is bent. Yes, you're about one leg's distance apart. Traditionally, front heel intersects the back arch of the foot, or you can go heel to heel. I'll probably take a little bit longer. Yeah. Watch out for this front knee stacks on top of the ankle. Never allow it to roll inwards. Yeah. How low this front leg goes depends on your range of motion in the hip. Can you hear me, Chloe? And just arms by shoulders. Again, notice if you're scrunching the shoulders up with your tension. Just allow it to maybe roll a few goes. And then find your length. And then think about the feet here. Yeah. Can you engage a little bit more into the outer back foot so the inner arch will lift a little bit more? So when you do that, the quad will turn on. You're gazing over that left middle finger. Just keep concentrating on the breath. We'll take a big inhale together and an easy exhale together. Placing the hands on top of the hips, extend into your front leg, pivot the left toes towards the long side of the mat. Yeah, it's wide leg forward fold. So again, you're about one leg's distance apart. If you're a little bit more flexible, you can try and go a little bit shorter. Inhale, create your length, lift the inner arches up, and as you exhale, hinge from the hips and then fold all the way down. So you can relax the arms, or if you want to take a different variation with the arms to make you a little bit more comfortable, then we go ahead. Maybe place your hands on top of blocks, or if you're near a wall, you can place your hands on top of the wall. You can always sway a little bit, ease yourself into the hamstrings and into the hips. And then placing the hands back on the hips if they're not already. Slowly lift all the way up, stand nice and tall. Again, pivot your left toes out, sink back into your warrior two. Keep the chest nice and open. We'll release your left forearm on top of the thigh, right arm sweeps up and over. So you can always reach the right arm towards the ceiling. Yeah, if that means keeping the openness across the chest. But again, if you're beginning to open up a little bit more, you can sweep it over the head. If you're starting to warm up into the hips, left fingertips can always reach the inside of that foot, maybe the outside. Maybe place it on top of a block. And then use your core, slowly lift all the way up, warrior two. And then pivot your right toes out. We'll squat down for goddess pose. So you might need to adjust the left toes slightly. Yeah, so about 10 and 2 o'clock. 10 and 2 o'clock. Sit down basically. As always, notice if you're collapsing with the knees inwards. So allow the arches to lift. Hands on top of the thighs. Yeah, maybe just sway, ease into the hips a little bit more if you're feeling a lot of tension here. Beginning to bring your left shoulder towards the center of the feet, yeah, or maybe a little bit further. Maybe gaze towards that right foot, or maybe over your right shoulder. Create that resistance between the hand and the leg. Inhale through center. Exhale, take it to the other side, dropping your right shoulder down. Maybe look over that left shoulder. We'll keep it towards the ground. And then slowly lift all the way up. Pivot 10 toes to the long side of the mat. And then reach the arms up towards the ceiling. So go length along the side body. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, fold forwards. So we'll come for this variation of a downward dog, hands out in front of you as much as you need, as you can. So you can keep the knees bent. You can always place your hands on top of blocks, or if you've got a chair or the sofa or a wall nearby, then obviously you can do that too. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, pivot 10 toes to the top of the mat, and then step forward, folding forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forwards. Press down the feet. Inhale, lift you all the way up. Reach the arms up. Exhale, hands together, heart center. Inhale, pick your left leg up, step it out, or set up for your warrior two. Front knee is bent. Grow long. Long. Oh, we can move. So about one leg's distance apart. Yeah, so the right knee is bent. You're facing the right way, Kimberly. So the right knee. Yeah. So right toes point forward, front knee points in the same direction as the second big toe. Yeah, so you need to point the front toes forwards a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. A little bit more. Yeah, there we go. Squat in. Back toes turns in slightly. Yeah, inwards. Yeah. A little bit longer. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So be super strong in this back leg. So straighten it. Yeah, engage into the quads. Arms in line with the shoulders. Just watch out this front knee doesn't roll inwards. Yeah. So always track it over the second big toe. And as I always like to say, imagine you've got a massive ball between the feet and you're trying to pop it. So that will engage into the legs a little bit more. Yeah, engage into the hamstring and opens up into the back leg. So it might do other stuff depending on what you want, obviously. And keep breathing here. Can you wrap your right hip under a little bit more? Can you drop the ribs down? A bit obsessed with this one. Drop them down. And begin to extend your front leg, pivot your right toes towards the long side of the mat. Maybe interlace your fingers behind you this time round, or you can hands on top of the hips, completely up to you. Inhale, lift, father. Exhale, fold all the way down. Hips, yeah. This is the first yoga you've done in a while. Oh, I just don't push myself much. You don't have me to whip you. That was ages ago. Don't use that excuse to me. And then placing the hands on top of the hips, slowly lift all the way up. Coming back to your warrior two, front knee bends, right toes point forwards. Right forearm finds your front thigh, left arm scoots up and over, extended side out. Back toes turns in slightly. Inwards a little bit more, Kimberly. The other way, in a little bit more. Sorry, inwards, as in towards me. Yeah, there we go. your front toes needs to come forward a little bit more. Yeah, a little bit more. This way towards me. Yes. Yeah, there we go. Nice soft breath. Use your core, slowly lift all the way up, pivot the left toes out. Come back for your goddess pose, sink low. Placing the hands on top of the legs again, we'll come for the right shoulder towards that left knee, gentle twist here. Scoop the belly in, keep the core engaged. We won't stay here for too long this time, so come back to center, and then we'll take it to the other side, left shoulder drop. And then come back to center, pivot 10 toes forward, and then this time we'll just pivot, to the top of the mat, step back, downward facing dog. So if you prefer, you can always come for a child's pose. Don't forget child's pose is always there as an option. You don't have to follow everything I say, but you kind of do. So we laugh. And if you're in a downward dog, think about spreading the shoulder blades a little bit more. Yeah. So I would try maybe turn your index fingers out slightly. Yeah. Do you notice any difference here? No. Looser, yeah. So yeah, I would probably turn the index fingers out slightly because it looks like you're quite tight in your upper back. So it will give you more space in the shoulders, and then you won't bow the arms. Wow. My anatomy skills are coming in. Inhale, look at the front of you, slowly walk to the top of the mat, folding forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forwards. Press down the feet. Inhale, lift you all the way, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, scoot your feet nice and wide. Pivot the toes out. We'll sink low for your yogi squats. So catching, you need to be really super careful in this yogi squat. Hands together at heart center. So if you're a little bit more in the flexible side, you might need to create a little bit more strength by lifting up a little bit more. Yeah. So really press the hands together and just see if you can relax. It's not my favorite pose, unfortunately. You like that, Erin? It's like you're giving birth. And if this still feels like super uncomfortable, you can always bring the seat to the ground. And then you can just walk the feet out a little bit more, and then you can come for this variation. Yeah, so you want to work the body, but you never want to be in a place where you're just struggling to breathe. Yeah. Please find a little bit more length along the spine. Slowly release the seat to the ground, so fingertips behind you, just ease your tailbone. And then bring the soles of the feet together. Yeah, so stay nice and tall here. Really press the feet together. Keep a bit of activation. You can stay here if you're ready to. And if it feels okay, you can begin at 2 fold forwards. And then slowly lift all the way up. Okay, so we're going to come to lie on your belly. Just thinking. Catching, you're not allowed to. So we'll lie on our belly and we'll set up for your half frog. So pointing into your right toes, and then just bring your left knee to the outside of your left hip. Yeah, so you might need to, it's just like a super gentle one. So the more you press into the left hip bone. Yeah, so think about tucking that and wrapping the left hip towards the ground. You'll feel a gentle stretch. And we're not feeling a gentle stretch. Yeah. No. Keep like literally as in like you've got your hand. Yeah, there we go. You still not feel it. Try lifting your left knee up a little bit higher. So the other option is to come back to your right leg extended out in front of you, and then you can come for the seated version. So this is more for Katrin. So left knee comes to the outside. So like your half yogi squat, but seated. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, and then you can encourage this knee to open a little bit more with this right knee, but this left knee, but create a little bit more resistance. Yeah. If you want to come back to your yogi squat, then you're more than welcome to, or you can come for the lying down belly version, which is your frog pose, and then both knee will come out. I should probably do this so people can see. Does that make sense? Let me know if that does not make sense. Yeah. Can you feel it a little bit more? Yeah. Okay. So if you're at home and you want to start, doing this as a nice gentle stretch at home, you can just prop yourself up with a couple of cushions or pillows underneath the belly, or if you want to go full out, then you can have a bolster underneath. Stay here as long as you need to. If you're ready to change sides, then go ahead. So right knee will come to the outside of that right hip. Yeah. Thinking about, imagine if I got my right hand and I've put it on your right butt cheek and I'm pressing you into the ground. That's what it feels like. Yeah. Maybe bring your right foot a little bit wider than the knee. Yeah. Keep that right foot flex. Protect that knee. Or if this is super uncomfortable, you can sit up, extend the left leg out in front of you, then come to bring your right knee out, and then you can encourage it to open a little bit more by creating that resistance between the arm and the foot. And when you're ready to slowly lift all the way up. Feel free to wiggle if you need to wiggle the knees. We'll come for pigeon pose. So right shin forwards, left leg long behind your left hip. Okay, so you prop yourself up if you need to, with cushions or again the block underneath that right hip. If this is still super uncomfortable, then left foot can find the ground, and then you can come and bring the right ankle on top. Yeah. And if you want to come for the reclined version, you can come to lie on your back. You're right. The right ankle comes on top, yeah. And then you can always pick up that left leg as well. Yeah. So think about sending the right knee towards the floor. Again, stay here as long as you need to. If you're ready, we'll just change sides. So bring your left shin forwards for your pigeon, or just cross your left ankle on top of the right thigh for your figure four. Remember, both sides really different, so you might find that you're tight on this side or maybe a little bit more open. And then slowly lift all the way up. Keep the seat grounded. We'll come to extend your legs out in front of you. Again, option to sit on the very edge of the block or a couple of cushions. Maybe keep the knees bent, so sit nice and tall. Maybe you want to stay here. If you like, you can always begin to fold forward. So remember, this is not the end goal of touching the toes. It literally will not change your life. So don't feel like you have to fold forwards. Your life will change. You will become amazing if you touch the toes. You will become the best. When you're ready, slowly lift all the way up. Come to extend your right leg long towards the outside of the right hip, and we'll tuck the left foot in. We'll interlace your fingers behind you. Take a big inhale, find length along the arms. And as you exhale, just gently send the hands towards the outside of the right hip, and then guide the head over towards the right. So nothing too crazy. Press a lot into that left sitting bone. And if you've got a little bit more space, you can always just dive the head towards that right foot a little bit more. Yes, just make sure that the left hip doesn't lift. You can always roll the head forward and back. And slowly lift all the way up. Placing your right hand on top of the left knee, left fingertips behind you, or maybe keep to the half bind. It's completely up to you. Inhale, find your length. Exhale, gently twist. Maybe turning the head over that left shoulder. And then come back to center. We'll come for the other side. So tucking your right foot in, extending your left leg long towards the outside of your left hip. Interlacing your fingers behind you. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, send the hands towards the outside of that left hip. And then just guide the head over towards that left shoulder. So think about stacking the shoulders on top of the hip and then lean towards that left foot. And when you're ready, lift all the way up. We'll come to lie on your left side. It's just a couple of things you can do I'll take it step by step. So the left side, stack the legs on top of each other, and then catch your right, just the right, yeah, the right ankle of the foot, bringing the knees together. So this is a nice, gentle quad stretch. Obviously, depending on how tight you are. You can stay here. If you want to go for the half hero pose, so sit up, left leg long out in front of you, and then you can sit on top of the right heel. Bringing the knees together, make sure they're not splaying outwards. Again, the option of sitting on top of a block or a cushion. You can maybe begin to lean back. So this might be super intense if you've got tight quads. So this might pull the knee if you've got tight quads. What was the other option? Other option, you can come for the lizard version. So scooching your left foot towards the outside of that left edge of the mat. And then you can turn towards the left, catch the foot or the ankle. You can use the strap as well. And when you're ready to, you can change sides. When you're ready to slowly lift all the way up. Come to a comfortable seated position, close down the eyes. So any comfortable seated position, that feels good. When I come for a child's pose, completely up to you. Really see if you can press your sitting bones into the ground a little bit more. And as you do that, can you find a little bit more length along the spine? Reaching the crown of the head towards the ceiling. And so coming back to the questions that we asked ourselves earlier on in this practice. How does the body feel now that you've moved? Now that you've created space, openness, freedom. And how does the mind feel? How does the mind feel now that you've found time to really pay attention to the breath? Do you feel a little bit better now that you've moved? And hopefully you've been able to create space in this practice today. And if you have, are you able to see things a little bit more clearer? Things that maybe felt a bit strange or distorted. So remember that there's no right or wrong answer. Knowing today and always that it's a practice and it takes time. Every day is different. Some days you find the space, the freedom. Sometimes you don't. And just accepting that that's okay. It's a practice in itself. Beginning to wind down the breath. Release the effort. And again, come back to noticing that natural rhythm. Keeping the eyes closed, or you can blink them open, completely up to you. We'll place your right hand on top of the left knee, left fingertips behind you. Inhale, create a little bit of length. Exhale, gently twist. Slowly move through center, and then we'll take it to the other side. And then come back through center. Up to you, stay for your seated meditation, or you can come for the traditional Shavasana, lying on your back. Completely up to you. And if you find that you've lost your way, just keep coming back to the breath. And then begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And if you're in your Shavasana, take your time, come to a comfortable seated position. Sitting really nice and tall. So in the studio, we'll take a big inhale through the nose and then exhale through the nose. And if you're at home, you can do it through out the mouth. So when you're ready, take a big breath in. And an easy exhale. Two more together. Take a big breath in. Easy exhale. One last time, just like that. Take a big inhale. Easy exhale. Bringing the hands together and bow the head forwards. Showing love and gratitude to yourself and to this practice. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.